All right, YouTubers, it's been a while. I don't have a pink shirt on for the first time. I just noticed ever since I looked at my subscriber count, and it's going up. It's going up really well, even though I've only done 3 videos. This will be the 4th. So no more pink shirts for now. It's winter time here in Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, New Jersey. I'm from PA. Whatever. Anyways, it's been gains o'clock, motherfuckers. So it's been lifting and doing all that stuff. So I hope you guys have been doing that too. Stay in shape, keep yourself active, so this way your brain follows suit. You know what I mean? Because if you guys are in finance 12 hours a day, you got to be smarter than everybody else out there. That's just the way it is. You got to be quicker. You got to be more prepared in order to sell. So if you've looked at my other videos, so now we've been through the menu setup. We've been through how to overcome the people who, how to start the discussion from the people who just say they don't want any of that, okay? And just to pick up a little bit from where I left off, my go-to close for that is, okay, I kind of do some paperwork. I make sure I don't have my paperwork pre-printed, start putting it in my nice little printer here, my nice up-to-date technological printer here. And as I feel the customer out, I whip the menu back out and say, hey, listen, I know I offered you this platinum contract, and I understand you don't think you need a bunch of these items, addendums on your contract. However, you owe it to yourself to at least do the bronze contract, in which case I'm just talking about a service contract and maybe one other product like tire and wheel, or one other addendum rather. Get used to using them labels, guys. I can't stress the seriousness of how that makes you look. Contracts and addendums. When you're going through that menu, it's a contract. When you're talking about an item on the menu, it's an addendum. You sound professional, you appear professional, you appear trustworthy, you appear as an expert, and that garners your credibility. And the more credible you seem, the more likely somebody is to buy at the retail price you're asking. So make use of them labels. They're very important. So what I'm going to get into today is the first individual objection. So as many of you finance managers know, the front end, especially at a Toyota store or any other import store, the front end stripped out all the rate you have no buyer, you have nothing to do, no modifiers to give, or you're at 60 months at 0%, and they're closed at 450 on the dot. And the first objection you're going to get is, nope, that's my monthly payment, that's all I could afford, don't want it, not interested, right? I mean, we've all heard that. That's like the most, that's like the Adam and Eve objection. That's like the first one you hear all the time. Nope, they closed me out there, I don't want to pay a dime more, I can't afford it, or it's not in my budget, I have a budget, and obviously, again, when I talk about preparation, you have to weaponize yourself with this, right? You say a guy says he can't afford more than $450 a month and he's making $200,000 a year. Okay, well, we could talk about that, but we pretty much know, you could deduct that this guy's just full of shit. He doesn't want the warranty, so it's up to you to get to the real reason, okay? So let's just go to the part where after you said, now you owe it to yourself to reconsider it, at least through the bronze contract with the vehicle service contract and the tire and wheel maybe. That was my go-to second ancillary product. Okay, so we're along, and nope, I'm stuck at 450. I'm not doing a dime more. Can't afford it. Let's just say he's hiding behind that. Let's just say somebody thinks they genuinely can't afford it. You know what I mean? That's the other thing. Somebody might believe that they really can't afford it. Maybe they only make $3,000 a month. So, depending on what your perception is, my first individual close for this is, depending on how I'm feeling out, you know what I mean? I'm talking to them about it, and, maybe asking them, always ask more questions. And the first thing I would say is, hey, listen, you know what? Before I'm even getting into discounting or anything like that, there's no need to start that yet, okay? You go in and you have your 7-year, 100,000 mile warranty, which is my go-to warranty, just to refresh you. That's my go-to service contract is a 7-year, 100,000 miles. That would take a $450 payment roughly to about a $495 payment, okay? No. Right? So, hey Pete, I'm doing menu training. All right. Sorry for the brief interlude, but okay. So we're at a 7100. That should take your payment from about a 450 to 495 on your regular sedan or SUV. Nothing crazy. We're not talking about a Cadillac Escalade here or some crazy car like that. So you hit somebody around $2,800. You already know what, about $50 a month. So you hit somebody at 495. or even 505. Fuck that. You want to go for all the wood. You want to break that seal, because if you break that seal at over 500, then you know you can break it even more. So my technical, like, you know, I know when a lot of you guys set up your menu, you're like, oh no, I don't want to go over 5. Nah, make it at 490. Fuck that. Go over, because you always come down. Simple. Don't ever forget that. Always ask for a little more than you think you might be able to get. It's not crazy, but a little more. So I would set up the menu for 505 at a 7100 and stick to that, right? So you're at a 7100 still. We haven't talked about anything else. You're at 7100. So somebody says they can't afford it. You can't afford it. No, I can't afford that payment. No, you know, I don't want to. I never buy any. Whatever. So if that's the main, so you clarify. Again, it's slow yourself down. Don't get defensive. You clarify. Slow it down. Make sure you're understanding perfectly what the customer is saying to you. Okay. So the only way to really do this, Brendan, I know you're in here. Why don't you just really play the role of the customer that says they can't afford it, and then as I dig deeper, you just kind of ad lib to what you think a customer like that would say. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I presented the menu, and God. So all right. So. Sir, you owe it to yourself to at least reconsider doing the bronze contract. That's a 7-year, 100,000 miles. You only get 3 years with the car. You're taking out a 6-year loan. Your payment goes from, your base stripped out contract goes from 450 to 505, and that'll mean you not only will you have it for 6 years, but another year on top of it. So a whole year worry-free after you've paid this contract off. I think you owe it to yourself to really consider doing at least that one.
Well, it does look good, but before I came here, I took a look at my finances. I see my budget. You know, I got rent, I got some student loans and everything. 450 is really where I wanted to be. In fact, I kind of wanted to be a little bit lower than that.
Yeah.
But, you
took care of yourself. You got the right car for you.
It's a new car, exactly. So
yeah,
I mean, 450 is really kind of my budget.
I got you. Hey, let me just clarify. This is the 7-year 100. So it sounds like, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like it's you have a very strict budget, you do your homework, you don't want to put yourself, and I don't want to put you in a situation where you're like eating ramen noodles just to afford the car and the contract. So it sounds like, I just want to make sure I have everything right. So I'm offering you a 7-year, 100,000 miles. By the way, do you drive like 10,000 miles a year, or closer to 15, or what, or somewhere in the middle?
In this car, I drive about maybe 10,000, not too much.
Okay, so 10,000 miles. Well, listen, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think I have a creative way. But other than that, you would be interested. So in other words, if I said, hey, Brendan, you know what? The idea of the contract sounds good. You want to be protected, but you want to keep it within budget. And am I on the right track with that?
I mean, it covers everything.
Great question, man. Great question. I'm glad you asked. It does. It's just like the Toyota factory warranty. 0 deductible parts, labor, and diagnostics. And also, you get a rental car. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're probably going to think your rental insurance company gives you that. I would think that too, but it doesn't. Your rental car only gives it in the event of a total loss, or if your vehicle is stolen or something. Not because you had a mechanical failure. You know what I mean? So what I could do is this. Since you told me, since you shed the light on the fact that you only do 10,000 miles a year, what I could do is I could give you the same coverage, customize it to you exactly. So instead of doing a 7-year 100, this is what I could do. I could do a 7-year 100, take it to a 7-year 70, which would adequately cover you. So in other words, you're going to run out of the time before the mileage anyway. So that'll cover you for 70,000 miles in 7 years from today, okay? Which would then take this contract down from 505 a month. I mean, what I could do is I could do that, and since you're a good customer of ours, is this the first car you bought here?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make sure you buy another one. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll hook you up with my employee pricing. Okay. I'll do the 7-year 70 now, 0 deductible parts, labor, and diagnostics. You could have all this coverage for $475 a month, and that would be including everything. That would be just the service contract, 7 years, 100,000 miles, and it does have the tire wheel addendum too. I mean, depending on, you know, if you guys get paid on a pay plan where it pays for you to get a tire and wheel and just shove it in there, and then an added benefit, I mean, the customer's not going to say no to that. Oh, by the way, it does have the tire and wheel addendum in there too. So not only is it going to cover everything under warranty, Brendan, but on top of that, you know how like the New Jersey roads are like the worst in the country? Well, even if you just skim that wheel. Like, you know, you ever parallel park and you hear that sound and now your wheel just looks like crap? Your $30,000 car now has a wheel that looks like crap. What do you do about it? Normally, you just let it look like crap. Not only does it cover that,
The whole rim?
The whole rim. But if you blow a tire and you dent a rim, zero deductible, unlimited occurrences, that addendum's included in that. Just for $575 a month. So if that works for you, I could get you signed up and get all the paperwork started.
You want me to keep like?
No. Normally I would, but I'm trying to keep it short and succinct for this lesson. As we go on, I want you to be more and more difficult. But do you see how even him,
$25.
he would probably say yes. That's the whole point.
I'm gonna lay down.
If it makes out, well, most people are. That's my point. My point is, your reaction to their reaction is the key. You cannot get defensive. You cannot get uptight. You have to be like a doctor diagnosing their problems. Sometimes they really believe they can't afford it. It's your job to make them believe that not only can they afford it, but they can't afford not to have it. So if he wanted to be a tougher customer, which I purposely didn't do because I don't want to get too long-winded on each one. As we go through each one, you're going to see how these all blend together anyway. There's pretty much all differentiation of 4 different objections. It's just how you handle each one. That's why there's so many different ways to go about it. The more different ways you have to go about it, the more prepared. Now, lastly, the last thing I want to say in this video before I wrap it up. See how I asked the question, I diagnosed it. I went, okay, well, how many times do you drive 10,000 miles, 15,000 miles, or somewhere in the middle? I let him pick it. Okay, I gave him a very non-confrontational question. I said, oh, actually, I do 10,000. What did you just discover? Ding dong. I could still sell a warranty, lessen the payment, and make the customer feel like I'm coming up with a solution that works for him. I didn't even get into, hey, I could do 75 months or 84 months. I didn't even get into that. I didn't even need to get into that. That's not the way to go. Discounting and stretching is not even at the point where I'm even at yet. Of course, I'm going to try them all for $475 first before I get into that. Then if he was even more difficult, then I would have gotten into stretching it and taken out the tire and wheel or discounting. Then I would do that. But you didn't necessarily need to do that. You got to keep trying these people on. And to my main point, you have to be prepared on the fly with different vehicle service contract options. You have to be. You cannot just know a 7-year 100. You have to know your 770. You have to know your 7125. You have to know your 5100. You have to know around about your cost on all these, so this way you could confidently and quickly get the customer while he's hot. The iron is only hot for about 2 seconds in this office. So if you're not prepared with a different option, a different service contract option that suits their needs, that iron's getting cold quick. And right away, you have to be dead on point. You have to be prepared with another different option that works, so they could sign on that dotted line as soon as you suggest it, and you can move it on and put it to bed, and then try to rebump. Okay, so that's this video. I feel like I've talked a lot, but the next video we'll have a different objection, and I hope you enjoy. Don't forget, keep yourself in shape, keep yourself prepared, and hey man, just be cool. Got to be like Fonzie. And if you think I sound like Ray Romano, well then, hey, well, you get the point. All right, take care, everybody.